What up, guys? James from Bolt Bros here. Let's talk about this Bill Barnwell trade that he kind of floated out there about getting Mark Andrews to the Chargers, Zion Johnson to the Ravens, and pick swaps during the draft. So, kind of an interesting idea. Love to be able to hear your thoughts about this too in the comments below. But let's go ahead and see if this trade even makes sense, guys. So, let's get into it. Bolt Bros, let's go.
Bolt Bros.
All right, guys. Once again, appreciate all the love and support. Please like the video, subscribe to this channel if you've not, and also tell me your thoughts about this potential trade for Mark Andrews to the Chargers, Zion Johnson to the Ravens. So essentially what Bill Barnwell's throwing out there is this trade proposal to where the Chargers get the number 27 pick in the NFL draft. The Ravens then will also get the 22nd pick. So they essentially trade up, we trade back. We also get a 4th round pick, 136, from the Ravens, plus Mark Andrews. And then we also send Zion Johnson to the Ravens. Now, that helps them out with their O-line. That helps us to be able to have a guy that is still only 1 year left of his current contract, which actually, I believe, holds a $16.9 million cap number right now, in comparison to Zion Johnson basically hitting only a $4.69 million cap number. So big gap in different salaries there. You would assume that there might be some money being moved around. Maybe the Ravens absorb a little bit of that contract, but does this make sense? Now, obviously, Mark Andrews, I hate to even bring it up, but in the playoffs, the couple of drops that he had, fumbles, all these different things that happened, end up kind of costing the Ravens big time in that game. A lot of fans jumped all over him. Just absolutely ridiculous. A guy that has actually been a stability for that team for years and years and years. He's going to be 30 going into this new year. He's a great tight end. Now, I will say one thing too. I mean, I do think that everybody on this team, I think, from Jesse Minter to, Joe Ortiz to Greg Roman, they know this guy. They absolutely know this guy. And it would be a really, really good fit all around for the team. It could potentially give us a guy that we could kind of grow in as a tight end for, I'd probably say, the next 3 years, give or take, with him. I mean, he is getting up there in age. He'll be 30 when the season starts. Last season at 55 catches, 673 yards, 11 touchdowns. A guy can be an absolute menace in the red zone for us, which is, I think, something that's lacking a little bit within this team. And I think having Mark Andrews, you will get that stability for red zone targets too. The guy has been an absolute strong weapon for this team for years and years and years. In 2021, he had his best season at 1,361 yards, 9 touchdowns, 107 catches, which is ridiculous for a tight end. But you go and look and say, okay, we got Conklin, we got Will Dissly, we got 2 guys that can be pass catchers. I could imagine they could both give you about 500 yards of production each individually. But are they the same as Mark Andrews? I'm not really sure if I could put them on that tier. I do think that Conklin can be just a step down in some levels of Mark Andrews. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'd love to be able to hear from you on that. But I think Conklin could give you the same type of production out there, be a good blocker and tight end. I wouldn't say he's the best blocker, but he's a very good pass catching guy, meaning as in Conklin. I don't know. I would like to be able to hear from you guys on that, because that's kind of an interesting one to be able to say, hey, do you feel confident in the tight ends right now that we have? Do you feel that really Mark Andrews is a tight end that we really, really, truly need on the team? More and more I'm getting closer to the draft, the more I'm feeling like we don't really need to look too much heavily at the tight end position. I think we're pretty good with Tyler Conklin and Will Dissly at this moment. So I think they're both very functional for their own right. But do we need a long-term position is really the key. And that's where I think that Mark Andrews could be that guy. Now, once again, the draft is very, very tight end heavy. Mason Taylor's been connected to us. Colston Loveland has been very, very connected to us. I mean, there's been a good amount of talk about the tight end room, adding more weapons for, Justin Herbert. It is one of those things that I think we really do need to look at a long-term position with him. Could Mark Andrews be that guy? I'm not sure. Now with Zion Johnson, he's kind of one of those guys where it's like now, all right, first round pick, a guy that was picked some years ago, a guy that has been okay for us. I wouldn't say is great for us, a guy that they were looking at to potentially move from left guard to center. He's on his last year of his contract. We have not picked up his 5th-year option yet. If we move away from him, we got guys behind him, right? That could possibly fill in. Andre James could get shifted in. Bradley Bozeman, I've even thrown that out that he's been a guard. He could be a guy they've thrown in at the left guard position. Mekhi Becton is going to be your right guard. Obviously, Joe Alt is going to be your right tackle, and Rashawn Slater is going to be a left tackle. It's about filling those middle points out for this team. Andre James could end up being the center, which is where his natural position has been. So it's interesting to think about moving on from Zion Johnson at this point in time when you kind of want to try to find a way to put him somewhere. Now, even Pipkins is another guy, too, that you could even throw out there, too. We've done a great job of creating competition on the O-line and creating depth. Pulling away from Zion Johnson, does that pull away from the depth from this team? Yeah, I really do think that's going to be the case. You could potentially just put in more as Pipkins as a swing tackle. I don't think you pay a swing tackle what he's getting paid right now. Give or take, he's getting paid, I think he's $9.2 million cap hit right now. I mean, you put him as a starter if you're going to keep him on the team at this point. So I don't know necessarily if this would be the greatest move for depth purposes. I'm not really 100% sold by Trey Pipkins being a left guard. 2, if that's really going to make a difference for him. Or if it's going to be Bradley Bozeman. I mean, you don't pay a guy $9.2 million as a salary cap situation and put him on the bench and put him as a swing tackle. It just doesn't fit. But positive of Trey Pipkins, he can play up and down the line anywhere and everywhere, which is good. But this is an interesting idea with Bill Barnwell's idea. Essentially, you'll still get a first-round pick. You'll go back to the number 27. I think at that point, if you get a tight end with Mark Andrews, you probably go with a defensive tackle or potentially even to a defensive end at that point. You'll get a 4th-round pick to be able to add another player too. You'll get essentially, give or take, about 4 picks in 5 picks, actually, I believe, in the first 150 picks, give or take, with doing a trade like this. So wouldn't be bad at all, in my opinion. I think it wouldn't be bad to be able to add more of that. Now, we do have so many picks already. We have 10 picks. We have 4 6-round picks, which is like ridiculous to think about. It makes you think that we're going to trade up, and the idea is to trade up in the draft. So I don't know. But the big thing is, giving up Zion Johnson, does that make sense? Getting Mark Andrews, does that make sense? I'd like to be able to hear from you too. Now, just to throw one other tidbit out there too, I know there's been that idea about getting Dallas Goedert from the Falcons. It's been kind of a late round pick type situation. I think it's about a 5th roundish, I believe, from what I've been heard, to be able to trade for him. Or is it going to be Mark Andrews? Which one would you feel more comfortable with? Both of them will be 30 going into the season. Both maybe have a couple years left in their NFL career and be very, very highly productive. Which one would you rather take to be a longer term situation? Because what it really boils down to is you probably would trade for these guys. You'd probably sign them to a contract extension. It would be a long-term solution. I still go back to it. There's a lot of really good tight ends in this draft that fit extremely well for this team. I just don't know if this would make most sense to be able to go with a Dallas Goedert or a Mark Andrews when there's going to be a lot of young talent in front of you that could grow essentially with Justin Herbert for 5 to 4 years, give or take, depending on whatever round we end up going with. So I don't know. It's an interesting situation, but I think the draft is going to be an interesting one all around for a lot of trades. I do anticipate potentially a fair amount of trades happening, not just for the Chargers, but in the NFL all around. We'll see where it ends up landing, but I want to be able to hear from you. Do you think this trade for the Chargers getting Mark Andrews, trading the number 27 pick to the Ravens, and trading the 22nd pick to the Ravens to get Mark Andrews and Zion Johnson to the Ravens, we get basically the 27th pick and a 4th-round pick at 136. Does it make sense, or would you go with the Dallas Goedert situation, maybe trading a back-end pick, getting him, have him for the next couple of years, being kind of a longer-term situation for 2 to 3 years further? So I want to hear from you. What is your thoughts about this Bill Barnwell trade? And does it make sense all around? Or do we go with the draft and just draft a young tight end to grow with Justin Herbert? So I want to hear from you. What is your thoughts about this, guys? Throw it in the comments below. Once again, like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not. We appreciate all the love and support, guys. Once again, James from Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charged up, Bolt Bros on the night.